Shabbat Shalom one more time, everybody. The Parshas of this morning is known as Parshas Vayikra. That's what we're going to study about this morning. And it means, and he called. Who called? The Holy One, blessed be He, called unto Moshe. And I subtitled the Parshas of this morning as the animal within corrupt. The animal within corrupt. That is the subtitle of this morning, and we're going to elaborate more on that. Just to give us an overview and intro to today's parasha, which is Parasha Vayikra, which means and a call. The book of Vayikra is an invisible book, which is above time and nature. Its end is its beginning, and its beginning its end. I said the book of Vayikra is an invincible book. Why did I use the word invincible? What I'm trying to tell us here is that the book of Vayikra actually happened in the highest level of the spiritual realm. The book of Vayikra happens in the 8 spheres. The book of Vayikra is the only sefer, which is the only book in the Torah that you can read both from the beginning to the end, and it makes sense. And you can read it also, you can start it from the end and read it to the beginning, and it's the same. So therefore, the book of Vayikra is that pillar that is holding the two first book, which is the book of Bereshit and Shemot, and the other 2 books that is remaining, which is the book of Numbers and the book of Deuteronomy. So the book of Vayikra is the beginning. It is the middle that is holding both of these books. Is the 3rd book in the book of Moshe in the Torah. So therefore, this book actually for our children, according to our tradition and culture, we do not teach our children, especially the male children, we do not start teaching them from the book of Bereshit. When they get to the age, we start teaching them from the book of Vayikra, from the book of Leviticus. So this week we began the book of Leviticus, the 3rd book of the Pentateuch, which deal primarily with the law of the Kohanim and the sacrificial service in the holy sanctuary. The majority of the book relates the Torah of the priesthood, their duty of ministering to Adonai in the sanctuary, the sacrifices offered by them on behalf of the people, and the law of purity and morality. Indeed, the book of Vayikra is also known as Torah Kohanim, Torah of the priesthood, Vayikra and Moshe. And Adonai called to Moshe and instructed him in the regard to the many varying korbanot, that is, korbanot meaning sacrifices. And the gematria of the word Vayikra is 2. The gematria of the word Vayikra is 2, and which means it can be read in 2 ways. As I said earlier, it can be read from the beginning to the end, and from the end to the beginning, and it makes sense. And he also some of us sages also said that he also represents the 2 sons of Aaron that were lost in this book, in the book of Vayikra, when they went to go and make an unlawful offering, fire offering unto Adonai. So, and it also relates the difficult life of their father Aaron. So, because at the end of the word Vayikra, we can see that Vayikra ends with the letter Aleph, and it's a small Aleph, not the normal Aleph, the small one, which represents Aaron. Because in this book we can see a lot of difficulty that Aaron underwent, especially the death of his two sons. Adon ki yakriv mekem karbon lahadonai. A man, when he will bring a sacrifice to Adonai, a soul when he will sin. We know that man during his things here in this world is a strange composite of 2 different sorts of being. we are comprised of an Adam, which is the physical being, formed from the Adamah, which is formed from the earth, with its earthly desire and influences on the person, and the Nefesh, which is the spirit being, which is from the Elohim, the Adonai, which is from above, with its heavenly aspiration and influences on the person. Upon death, each temporarily goes its separate way. The body returns to its earthly source to wait its ultimate rebuilding and reward at the time of the resurrection of the dead. The Nefesh, which is the soul, returns to its heavenly source, where it is reconnected to Adonai, drawing the power and purity it will need to, in turn, purify and elevate the body at the time of the resurrection. What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to tell us that we human beings are a composite of two different beings. We are a composite of two different things. We are a composite of the physical and of the spiritual. We are a composite of the material, which is the matter, and we are the composite of the antimatter, which is the spiritual. So at the time of birth, these two were fused together, and the Adon, which is the physical one, which is taken from Adamah, which is taken from the earth, right? This one, this body, this physical body, which is the physical material, has a lot of influences on us. It tends to move us away from what? From the will of the Spirit, from the will of the living God. Why the Nefesh, which is our soul, which is from the Holy One, blessed be He, tend to turn us into the will or into the light of His glory. With this in mind, Rabbi Liab Hasmon, in his classical work Ohe Yahel, point out a very strange aspect of the Pesukim, which is the verses quoted above. We know that our Adon, which is the flesh, pull us to sin. Our Nefesh, thirst, which is our soul. Our Nefesh, our soul, thirst for the spirituality. It once had and inspired us to draw close unto Adonai. Why does the verse, when discussing the bringing of the Korban, or the bringing of the sacrifice, the act which brings a person close to God? Korban, the root word for Korban is karof, and karof in Hebrew means close, to come close, to be close to the Holy One. That is the source of the word Korban. That is the source of the word to sacrifice to Adonai. So the physical being, our physical body, tend to do what? To draw us away from the will of God. The physical body tend to make us to commit sin, to do that which is not right, to do that which is not just, to pervert judgment, to cover our eyes when we are seeing what is right, and for us to do what is right, but we refuse to do it. So our physical body tends to make us to commit those sins against the will of God. Why our Nefesh, which is our soul, which is from God, thirsts for the spirituality of the living God. It thirsts for the Holy One, blessed be He. It wants to be closer to its source, because the source of the Nefesh of a man is from God Himself. So this source, this communication tend to be more to seek its origin, its source, which is from God Himself. But our physical body, the body, makes us to commit sin every time, because remember, we are in the physical world and we are in the material world. So therefore, this material world influences also our spirit. Rabbi Liam explained that the Torah impresses upon us the accountability of these two strange bedfellows. Wherever we turn, wherever we go, they are both there. The malach, the angel, and the animal, which is the flesh. The malach in this sense is the nefesh, is the spirit, while the animal in us is the flesh. We can't leave home without them. When we go to sin, it is the nefesh key, it is the soul. When we sin, the angel comes along. It gets dragged into the mud. At the same time, when we draw close to Adonai, when we bring a korban, it is the flesh, which is the Adon, who is right there in tow. It too become uplifted and inspired. What is Rabbi Liam trying to explain to us here? He's trying to tell us that God in his mercy is trying to give us, to act upon us the act of accountability. That we have to be accountable for what he has given us. He has made us the way we are. We cannot change it. Right? What we have to do is to improve upon it. That is just the only thing that we can do. And the act of accountability here is very, very important. You can say, you know what, like what Adam said. No, it is not me that is at fault. It is the woman. And the woman said, no, it is not me that is at fault. It is the serpent. And the serpent said, no, it's not me that is at fault. It is God that created me. So at the end, we are shifting all the blame and all the error onto God. That God is one who is at fault. But in this case, God is teaching us accountability, that we have to be accountable for all our actions. We have to be accountable for our doing. We have to be accountable for every act that we do in this physical or in this material world. So, therefore, if we sin, we are dragging the malach, which is the angel in us, our nefesh, which source is from God. We are dragging it into a mud, into a sin. Thereby, and if we come closer unto God, if we come to God, bring our sacrifice, if we come and bring our korban unto God, then we draw close. God gave us the ability to come closer unto Him. Remember that the Lord our God is holy, and nothing unholy can come close to Him. His eyes does not accept unholiness. His eyes, His presence cannot adorn what is unholy. So therefore, for us to come close unto Him, God gave us a way out. He opened a door for us whereby we can return, we can come back home. And by returning, we make teshuvah. And teshuvah means to return, to come back home to the Holy One. Blessed be He. As we were discussing yesterday during the Erev Shabbat, the Rabbi was giving a very interesting point, saying that God gave us means for us to do what? To return back unto Him. Different. It doesn't matter. You are rich, you are poor, you are an average man. There is always a means. Many people say, because you know what? I cannot afford a cow, or I cannot afford a sheep, or I cannot afford a ram or a goat. So therefore, I'm doomed for life. No. The Almighty loves you. The Almighty loves each and every one of us because of what? Because we are all His creation. And so therefore, there is a means and there is a way for you to come back unto Him. And so therefore that is why God also issues, say, if you cannot afford a bull, if you cannot afford a ram, if you cannot afford a goat, then you can afford a turtle dove or a dove. You can even afford ordinary grain. We have all kinds of korban, and we are going to discuss about that very soon. When we are in the uplifted state, when we have a clear and true perspective of the world in which we temporarily live, we can't even imagine doing something contrary to that understanding. How could I know what is right. The soul, the nefesh, in its time of glory, forget the sidekick. It is at that time of being uplifted that person must realize how easily he vacillates from side to side. He must try to inculcate those feelings to the point that he will never be extinguished. So what I'm trying to give us here is that when we are in the uplifted state, when we're in the state of infrared before the living God, just like the state when the children of Israel were before God on Mount Sinai when He gave us the 10 commandments. So there at such a particular state, our soul, even though our physical body, was uplifted unto God, and we rejoice and we glorify His name. So therefore, we should also realize that it is easy for us to fall from that state. So therefore, we should try as much as possible to be able to keep that state as long as possible. We can see that God gave us the 10 commandments, and it's not even long after that we did what? We construct the golden calf. We fell from that state of advanced holiness. That was the greatest closeness that a group of people can come close to the Almighty God. At that state on Mount Sinai, we are all as one with our God. But suddenly, not long after that, we fell from that state. So that is what I'm trying to let us understand here, that we as a human being, when we draw close unto God, when we bring our sacrifice before Him, then it is at this time that we should do what? We should make sure that our sacrifice, our closeness to the Almighty God lasts as much as possible, because the body, which is the Adam, the flesh, also works contrarily against our spirit. The Talmud in Shabbos 88 teaches that when Bnei Israel, that is the children of Israel, were at their highest point, when we stood at Mount Sinai and individually heard the word of Adonai, He held the mountain over our heads. If you accept the Torah, all will be well. If not, this will be your burial place. Oh! At such a point of prophetic clarity, did we need to hear such a threat? Because the Holy One, blessed be He, has already foreseen what is going to come. You can't reason with an animal. The clearest argument won't get you past and up, because we need to understand that our body is the animalistic part of us. Whatever the animal has, we have it too in our physical body. You have the heart, animal has the heart. You have intestine, animal has intestine. You have the eyes, animal has the same. Everything that we have, the same animal have. But what makes us different, the difference between us and them, is the nefesh, is the soul, that is our spirit, which source is from the Holy One, blessed be He. So therefore, you cannot begin to argue with that of you. And that is what the Holy One, blessed be He, is telling us, that we have to rise above that. We have to rise above that animalistic part of us to become a human being. He wants us to rise above that anger. He wants us to rise above those fornications, those the adultery, the lying, all those evil things that make us, that generate us onto a level of an animal. The Holy One, blessed be He, wants us to live above that, because He has created us as a being, not as an animal. Though He infused us in this, He infused the soul in this body, but we can overcome the animalistic part of us. Vayikra Moshe, and Adonai called to Moshe. The last word of the word Vayikra, the Aleph, is small. Moshe, in his humility, wanted to write Vayikra instead of Vayikra. Vayikra will mean that Adonai happened to call Moshe, implying that it was not commonly occurrent event. He happened to call him. In fact, it is the term used when Adonai called Balaam, the prophet. Adonai insisted that Moshe write the full word Vayikra, clearly showing the true relationship between them, but allow him to write the Aleph small or smaller than the other words. What I'm trying to tell us here that if you look at the word, the way it was written in the Torah Vayikra, the Aleph was the Aleph is a small one, which is to say that Moshe himself wanted to write it in a very small mode because he was a man of humility. He doesn't want to brag like most of us. You know what? I am the man of God. You know what? God speaks to me every day and every night, every second. I can do just like a second. I can take my telephone and call God. I can dial him at any second, and he's going to come and he's going to listen. Moshe doesn't want to let the people see it in such a way. Moshe is a man of humility. He wanted to tell the people that we can come closer to God, we can see God, but not to be bragging. Like most of us, or like most people in the world now, they brag on everything. Especially in the age of social media, everybody brag about their beauty, about who they are, their knowledge, their understanding, their houses, their material things. But Moshe was not a person like that. So therefore, he wanted to write the word Vayikra, not Vayikra. But God told him, no, you have to write it full. Let them see the relationship that is between me and you, that you are my servant, that we have a very close, intimate relationship. And that is what God wants from me and you this morning. A very close, intimate relationship. Just like the way Adam knew Eve, the same way God wants to know us individually and collectively. Like in the time when we are at our highest peak on the Mount Sinai, where God revealed His same word unto us, the same way God wants us to be intimate forever and forever. So therefore, we have as a people, we have as an individual, has ability to do what? To come close unto God if you want. Understanding in the Torah, it said it is voluntarily. God does not force anyone to serve Him. God does not force you if you don't want to serve Him. No. It is your choice. You decide. If you decide to serve Him, the blessing is there. And in this physical world, in this material world, and in the world to come. But if you say, no, I'm not interested, nobody force you. But understand, the consequence will start happening in this material world too, and in the world to come. It is your choice, it is my choice, we decide. And that is why God has given us that will, the choice to choose. As He said, I presented before you this day 2 things, life and death. Choose. But I, as God, as your Father, advise you to choose life. And Torah is life. It is interesting to note the very expression concerning the Korban Hatah, the sin offering, especially. The Torah discusses a variety of individuals who unfortunately sin. They must bring a Korban Hatah or Asham, a sin offering. In describing the unfortunate incident of sin, the Torah does not use a definitive word to describe the circumstances that caused a need for penitence. Instead, it talks about the circumstance in terms of hopeful uncertainty. If an individual person from among the people of the land shall sin unintentionally, Leviticus chapter 4 verse 27. If the anointed Kohen will sin, bringing guilt upon the people, Leviticus chapter 4 verse 3. If the entire assembly of the people shall err, and a matter become obscure from the eyes of the congregation, Leviticus chapter 4 verse 13. What am I trying to tell us, especially on this Korban Hatah or Korban Asham? This Korban Hatah is the only Korban or the sacrifice that is talked about that can be brought before God for 3 kinds of sin. That is, if an high priest sin, the Kohen Gadol. So what is God saying? God is telling us that Kohen Gadol is a human being like you. He can sin, he can commit a crime, unlike some people in our world now that they call themselves all kinds of different names, right? And they tell us, I am holier than thou. And the people look upon them as if they are some kind of angel that they can never sin. As far as you are in the flesh, in the body, that is the tendency and that probability of you committing a sin that you don't even know, because you are in the flesh, because you are in the material being, right? Through your thought, through what you see, through what you imagine, through what comes out of your tongue, of your lips. So we can commit sin unintentionally or intentionally, by maybe in your business, by lying, or by taking the profit that does not belong to you. So therefore, God is saying, even though the high priest can sin, and if the high priest sin, there's a way out for the high priest. God creates a corridor of escape for each and every one of us. Don't think, that this is the end of me. Do not count yourself as saying, you know what? I have no hope. My hope is finished. No, you have a hope. Everybody has a hope. Your hope is not finished. God made a way for you, and it is your turn to come close. You just have to decide and say, the Holy One, I am willing to follow you. I am willing to serve you. I am willing to be your servant. And the way is open unto you. So, Korban Hata is for the high priest, or if the king sin. Remember here also that even though before the children of Israel ever had a king, God has already created a way of escape, because God knew that one day the people will ask for a king, that they will reject him as their king. And we understood that yes, the day came when the children of Israel said, we want to have a king over us like the other nations. So therefore, God is telling us, He provided that way of escape for each and every one of them. Korban Hata is for the priest, for the king, and if the whole nation sin, or if there is a wrong ruling by the Sanhedrin, the high court. So they will bring a Korban Hata for a sacrifice for God to forgive them. So we have 5 kinds of Korbanot. We have the Olah, we have the Minha, we have Shlamim, we have Hata, and we have Asham. Those are the 5 types of Korbanot that we have. So therefore, however, when referring to the Nasi, or the ruler, or the prince of the nation, the Torah does not choose the tentative word ki or im, which denote an uncertainty. Rather, it uses the definitive asher. When a ruler sins and transgresses one from among all the commandments of Adonai that may not be done unintentionally, and become guilty. When it comes to the Nasir, when it comes to the princes, when it comes to the high priest, when it comes to the king, when it comes to the Sanhedrin, the word that the Torah used here was not ki or im, which means like if. No, he said asher, which means certainty, for sure. These people, this group of people, or the king, or the Nasi, or the princes, or the high priest, if they sin, when they sin, this is the way out for them. They will bring a Korban Hata to sacrifice for God to sanctify and to cleanse them. Remember that to whom much is given, much is expected. The Kohen Gadol is a man that has been taught from the beginning all his life to do what to beat the face of Israel before God. And if this man sins, there's a way out. The princes they've been taught the Torah all their life, so they know every word, they know every commandment, they know all the 613 commandments that God has given us. And if they now voluntarily sin against one of them, through their dealing, through what they see, what they imagine, what they think in their heart, what comes out of their tongue, in one way or the other, just like David, our forefathers, right? If they sin, then there is a way out, because their sinning is not like the sin of the people. The people, they don't know. It's not that they don't know all the intricate details of the Torah. But these men of higher status, they know it perfectly well. And so it is not if they sin, but the question is when they sin. Because if the people sin, yes, because they don't know in one way or the other, this is the way out for them. Ola, Minha, Shlamim, and Asham. But in the case of a high status person in the society, like the king, the prince, the high priest, or the member of the Sanhedrin, the high court, and they sin in one way or the other, right? The Torah said that the way out for them is by Hata, by offering Korban Hata, that will bring them close unto God. Why, when it comes to the ruler, does the Torah use the definitive word when the ruler sin? Yet, when referring to the sins of the common man, like Kohen or even the assembly, it uses the tentative word, if they shall sin. Second, the verse seems to be phrased with a strange syntax. Instead of stating when a ruler sins and commit one from among all the commandments of Hashem that may not be done unintentionally and become guilty, the Torah should use proper grammar and state when a ruler unintentionally sin and commit one from among all the commandments of Hashem that may not be done and become guilty. From the strange juxtaposition, it seems that the ruler transgressed a crime so grievous that people do not even transgress unintentionally. You see, because the ruler is what is more advanced in the understanding and in the reading, or is more funded, is more grounded in the Torah than ordinary people. Rabbi Neftali Ziv explained that the Torah makes a precise prediction about a ruler rise to power. Unfortunately, the question all too often is not if a ruler will go wrong, but rather when a ruler go wrong. So therefore, the Torah uses a definitive expression when the ruler will sin. All the type of misdeed is also alluded to this. All kinds of misdeed that a ruler or that a king or a Kohen Gadol can do is also alluded into this. So therefore, if they sin, it is not if they sin like the people sin, but when they sin, this is the way out for them. Moshe was the most humble of all men. When was this possible? How was this possible? He knew that it was Adonai, number one man. He performed the miracles of the plagues. He took us out of Egypt, of Mitzrayim. He split the sea. He brought down the Torah, etc. How was he humble? The greater understanding that one has of Adonai, the greater the realization of one's own deficiency. Moshe, I will repeat that again. The greater understanding you have of the Holy One, blessed be He, the greater you realize of your own deficiency. The closer you are to the Holy One, the greater you know of how feeble a man is. The more closer you are to Adonai, the more you know that you are just ordinary son of the earth. There is nothing to be proud about that. That's what I'm trying to tell us here. You are a man that prophesies and it comes to pass. You lay your hand upon the sick and you get healed instantly. That should make you to be even more be careful, not to be proud. Because when you are proud, the power that God has given you, God can take it away and give to another person. And you are just like an empty drum. But the closer one is with God, the more one should be humble. Moshe, with his clear perception of Adonai, felt him there at all time. He realized that he was nothing before Adonai. Adonai is always before me. Just like he felt that the mountain, Mount Sinai, is upon his head constantly every time. When the man of God feel is on that stage, when you feel as if Mount Sinai is always upon you, that when you sin, God can crush that mountain upon you, you become more humble. You step very carefully. You know what to say. You know the type of imagination that comes out of your. You try to take control of your mind. You try to take control of your tongue. You try to take control of your lips. You try to take control of your ears. You try to take control of your eyes. You try to take control of your sense, your organs of sense, right? Because those are the organs through which iniquity and transgressions comes into our lives. Moshe realized this. Moshe understood this. So therefore, Moshe was a very, very humble man before God. He felt ashamed with him. He felt the mountain over his head constantly. To whatever degree a person feels and realizes that, to that degree he will be in control of his what? Of his flesh, of his Adam. It is to what control you feel the presence of God in your life. You are going to take control of the flesh. You won't allow the flesh to take control of you, but you actually take control of your flesh. Because if you allow the flesh to take control of you, my brother and my sisters, you have no future. So therefore, you have to feel the presence of God constantly with you, the fear of God. That one I'm trying to say. I'm not talking about this type of fear, no. But I'm talking about the loyalty to your God. To be loyal to God every second, every minute, every hour of your life. Loyalty is the fear of God. That is what the Holy One is talking about. From the Torah of Moses, from the Torah of Moshe, a renewed Torah shall come forth. As it is written in the book of Yeshayahu, in the book of Isaiah, chapter 51, verse 4. Listen to me, my people, and my nation. To me shall you hear. For Torah shall go forth from me, and my judgment as a light. The nation shall I silence. Midrash teaches us in Midrash Vayikra Rabbah Shemini, chapter 13, verse 3 there, says, Rabbi Avin explained, elaborate on that particular verse in that Midrash, and he said, the Holy One, blessed be He, said, a new Torah or a renewed Torah from me shall go forth, which means an additional understanding. A renewal of the Torah from me shall go forth, and that renewed Torah, in my opinion, is Yeshua HaMashiach. And he said that the Torah, and I'm going to give to them in the end time, is the Torah of the flesh, not of the one that's written on the stone. For the one that's written on the stone made their heart hardened like a stone. They are like stiff-necked. They don't understand. But I will bring my Torah unto them again. I will renew it unto them, that all their sons and their daughters shall know me. For I'm going to write my Torah in their hearts. The Torah that the Holy One is talking about is the same Torah, but in a renewed form. In a form that is written on their heart, so that they will not sin. So that each and every one of them can understand, and they can realize and know what the Holy One, blessed be He, demands from each and every one of us. And that Torah has come forth. Yeshua HaMashiach has come forth as a living Torah, telling us, this is the way unto the Holy One. That I am the way, the truth, and life. No one comes unto the Father but by me. What is he talking about there? What is Yeshua HaMashiach saying? He said that no one can come unto the Father except by the Torah. For the Torah is a footprint of creation. You cannot say the Torah is old. You cannot say, you know what, we abandon it. Let's throw it away. Let's throw it aside. We are not interested in it. There is another book that somebody gave to me. No. The Torah is eternal. Yeshua HaMashiach himself said that no single letter in the Torah will go unfulfilled. The earth can go and everything in the world will go apart. But the Torah will stand eternal. Everything that's written in the Torah must come into fulfillment. This renewed Torah shall silence the nation by revealing the inner layer of the Torah of Moses, the true intent of Moses' teaching, which is one God, not man God. I repeat again, the renewed Torah shall silence the nations. The renewed Torah shall silence those nations, those people that hijack the Torah and turn it to something else. And they tell you that this is a man that they turn into a god. And they begin to worship a man god. And they begin to say, here is their God that saved them. But Torah is saying, he said, this renewed Torah shall silence those nations by revealing the inner layer of the Torah of Moses. As Yeshua said, the Torah of Moses, I am the one that gave it to Moses, and I will not reject it. That this Torah is eternal, and everything that is in it must come to pass. And that is why I came, to bring you, my people, the people of the Holy One, the blessed nation of Israel, back onto the Torah, to the beginning, that you might realize the love of God for you, that God has chosen you as a blessed people above all nations, not because you are smart, not because we are the most wonderful people, no, not because we are the numerous people, no, not because we are the stronger of all people, no, not because we are the tallest type of people, no, but because we have nobody. That's why God has chosen us to make us somebody, to make us his beloved people, his cherished inheritance, that he might draw us close unto himself. And by drawing us close unto himself, through us, the whole nations can be blessed. We are the light bearer that is bearing the light, the eternal light of God, so that through us, other nations will see the light and they will follow the path. The Torah of Moses teaches about one God, the true and only God, not a man God. And so the Torah clarified for us the old adage made famous by Britain's Lord Acton, who in a letter to Bishop Mendel Gretton of 1887 stated, power tends to corrupt. Absolute power corrupt absolutely. That's what I'm saying. The animal within corrupt. The animalistic part of us make us to become corrupt. And God is asking us to live above the animalistic part this morning. God wants us to become a human being, a spiritual being, a man that realizes, a man that knows his left from his right, a man that knows the right from wrong, not a man that does not know anything, that just mingle in that mud like a pig. We are not a pig, we are human beings. God wants us to live above that piggy or whatever you want to call it, that piggy nature of us that make us to commit sin every time, that make us to return unto sin. 2 minutes ago, we come unto God, we ask for forgiveness, and after 1 second, we return back to the same sin. God doesn't want us to do that. He's telling us, come back home. He's waiting. He's in love with us. He loves us so much. He's asking us to return home. When we come home, He's there. His hand is open to receive us. Don't say in your life that I am done. I'm finished. You are not finished. I am telling you, you are not finished. You are just starting. Your blessing is at hand. Your glory is coming. So do not be tired. Yes, the flesh want to tell you the opposite. But the nefesh, the soul, the Spirit of God is telling you another thing. So I would advise you, my brother and my sister, to follow the nefesh, to follow the Spirit that God has given you, that tend to always want to come close to its source. Because the source of all our spirit is from God, while the source of the flesh is from the earth, and it's going to return back onto the earth at the last day. At the time of death, both of them will be separated. And God is asking us, come close unto me. Or if you have all kinds of trouble, don't think that God does not hear you. He's listening to you. He's hearing you. He understands you. He understands your situation. He knows what you are passing through. And He's here asking you not to give up. To come. Just make that step. The Chinese said, a journey of 1,000 years starts with a single step. You just need to make that one single step closer unto Him. The sacrifices is God gave us a way out from all our iniquity for our sin. That is why He gave us that source of sacrifice, that it can bring us close unto Him. It is voluntarily. It is not by force. I want us to understand that. It is willing. If you are willing, come, and the Holy One will rescue you, bless you, sustain you, give you your petition, grant unto you what you seek. As you seek Him in the right path, in the path of justice, in the path of righteousness, He will never leave you alone. Shabbat Shalom. Parshas Vayikra.